And we live.
I'm not rid of it.
Hidden.
No.
So what's the question we have at hand for the set on this beautiful day out in Moo?
What's Moo got to say? What's Moo want to share with the people?
What's the people asking?
I want your Dantien, Baba. It's not giving away that easy. Let me see.
Yeah, all this can be edited, so cool for me to just let it channel however it needs to.
We mentioned Dantians and chakras last time, which is something I can always talk about and dive into. So, let's see.
Yeah, it's an infinite conversation.
It is. Might as well just jump right in. And what is something, if someone doesn't have access to the ground, like the grass or the soil, because this is something that's been mentioned quite a lot about actually cultivating authentic chi and energy in your Dantien, you need to have your butt or your feet on the ground or the soil. But I myself have experienced breakthroughs with my Dantien sitting in a car, laying in my bed. So do you have any insight towards that? Because that's something that plays back in my mind quite often, actually.
Yeah.
Should I be cultivating my Dantien right now, but my feet aren't on the ground and I'm not sitting up, or my butt's not on the ground or by a tree?
Well, I mean, the process of actually cultivating the Dantien can be very delicate and intricate, and so you do want to go at it with certain precautions. You want to go at it with certain foundations. You want to go at it with a certain level of like knowing that, you know, there's a risk involved with this, and in any alchemy there is a risk involved. But in general, when the first question arises, speaking about being connected to the earth or not, and cultivating the Dantien, the question goes as far as, are you doing Qigong or are you doing Neigong? Because specifically Neigong doesn't cultivate Qi from the outside world. All of it is cultivated from within inside, so you are your own self-supply.
Woo.
And Qigong, you're using the outside elements in some type of way to help you reflect your actual nature or your Jing, so that you can technically use the Qi that's in your aura field to allow more of the Qi to flow through the channels to eventually get you to more Neigong, because pretty much Qigong is an awakening for more Neigong. Like, you do enough Qigong to awaken that you already do have an actual energy supply inside of you, and then you also have a battery pack to store that energy as well.
Wow.
It's just that a lot of times the channels need to be opened enough for the Neigong to actually start. But at the same time, just to wrap up the answer to this question without being too long-winded, at the same time, inside of Neigong is Qigong. A lot of Qigong techniques, a lot of Qigong principles, because Qigong is a derivative of Neigong. And so you would want to cultivate the Dantien with care, but also knowing that once you get to a certain level of Qigong, you'll get to a level where you don't have to, have any boundaries of outside environments. Like, do I have to be in a quiet place in nature?
Right.
Do I have to be, outside of the cities? Do I have to be grounded? Those things aren't as much of a factor in Neigong.
So you could technically be Sun Tzu in the city once you've mastered the Qigong to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's pretty much. How's it going, Yeah, that's pretty much the basis of what renunciation is all about. Is there's different levels to renunciation. A lot of times you do want to go through those monk phases where you're going off into a cave, where you're going off into a monastery, an ashram and such, and you're living the monastic life, but that's only for a certain period of time, so that you can gather enough of your own celestial energies so that you can actually take that and renounce inside of the world rather than renouncing outside of the world. So you go back into the marketplace with a renounced mindset, a renounced body, and you're pretty much like, it's a training that happens where we are all pretty much addicts to the marketplace, to the mind. And when we go back into the world, back into the mind, back into the marketplace, we're no longer addicts to a lot of the things of the world.
Wow.
We pretty much cleaned our tongue, and so none of the advertisements of the world are tempting to us, and we can still enjoy the world for it. It does have its entertainment perks and its fundamental perks. Just living with other humans is a perk itself. So when we go to the marketplace where there's a lot of other humans, or the world as we call it, and we start to play with their minds, our minds are already chess master minds. And so why would a chess master ever be scared of playing against a beginner's level, intermediate level chess master? They've already got to that stage of renunciation or mastership, so that they can go around any other chess master, any other chess player.
Right.
And
so that'd be an interesting conversation and debate. Someone with Qigong and Neigong, because they're almost two different systems. Yeah?
They are a complete system in themselves. So pretty much, Neigong is the mother of all the systems, you can say. Neigong was the original way of looking at Qi. Now you have like Dao Yin, the I Ching Jing. You have other systems that formulated after Neigong, but Neigong is an advanced level of Qigong because it's just ancient. There's a lot more channels, there's a lot more techniques. There's not just poses, there's a lot more ways to look at the body. And so it wouldn't necessarily be ever in a debate. It would just more be once you have a certain level of Adantien and an open microcosmic orbit, then you can get to certain levels of Qigong really quickly that you would have to do for a whole 20-30 minutes to get to that level, because you're getting it from internal already. Your Dantien is already somewhat heated up, and so you can just get to that point of whatever the overall goal is with Qigong, you can get there quicker because you're getting it from an internal sense already that you've already been walking around with, cultivating all day long.
Right. But it would definitely take some training and process to get to that level first.
100%. 100%. Weeks to months for sure. Just for each level, it should take at least a couple weeks. So being able to really anchor your breath and sync your breath, that should take a week. To be able to allow Yang Qi to formulate, that should take weeks. To allow the combustion of them to create the Ming Min line and create that elixir field, that should take some weeks. And these can take months even, because it depends on where you're at just naturally with your breath in general. So if you're somebody like me that's already put in 10,000 hours of breath work in this reality, maybe you can jump into stuff and you can just start going ahead and get the training going. But if you still haven't cultivated certain levels of relaxation, nervous system awareness, healthy kidneys is very important, because when you're sinking the breath,
major.
You're not actually sinking the breath to your actual bottom of your kundalini.
If your kidneys aren't right.
No, because you're just really sinking into your kidneys, and your kidneys are transferring.
Wow.
Yeah, your kidneys will be the one that transfers the breath to the bottom of the kunda buffer.
Right.
So if you don't even have strong kidneys,
then that's one of the first things someone needs to work on.
You can't get into the Neigong system. Yeah, you can still work on with the Qigong practically, because Qigong was more used as a medical type of gong originally, not for creating a superhuman body. So we have the natural body, the superhuman body. Neigong originally was like, you can really upgrade your natural body, but you can super upgrade your supernatural body, combine them both, and then you can get into certain abilities and powers that the sages all work towards after they've gotten past a certain level okay, you got 100% Dantian, 200% Dantian, and you're cultivating hours and hours of mental stillness that's giving you more and more power each day. All right, cool. You're gonna figure out some of the cheat codes within inside of the fifth dimension and higher from there, because you've gotten to a point of ability where your body is ready for city powers. You've cultivated the body with the Neigong so that through the Neidan you can have a clear portal and vessel for city powers to come through.
Gotcha. Powerful. Yeah, you can't just have cities flowing. You can't just have that activated. It destroys somebody's body. The higher self within them just gave the lower self access to manipulating things like that within. It would be blown away. Fuses blown, and irreversible damage, psychic damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real thing. Like when we were doing the Nagdon, we were doing all that up at the land, up at the farm, before we started getting the light sheets. And something broke through, and I felt the heat and the pressure come back into my palms like 2010. It's been like 13, 14 years loop cycle for that much potency. So when I noticed, I'm like, dang, see, it's little pins and needles and stuff. Imagine if we were to turn the volume up. You can't even go to the hospital or the doctor for that type of stuff,
No. The type of damage that we're talking about working with, you'd only want to go to somebody that's really specifically trained in TCM, or they're some type of cheat.
And even then, you may not even.
No, because
right.
A lot of the people that train in TCM don't know the Neigong and the Qigong channels, because in TCM they teach different channels than they do in Neigong and Qigong. So you'd have to just hope that they have some Neigong Qigong experience to like really feel yourself out. So that's why it's really important, like starting off with getting to certain levels of relaxation, getting to certain levels of cleanliness, mentally and physically. Right? And then, so you have clean tissues, clean organs, clean glands, and then you can start working with the nervous system after that, and then you can start working with the channels after that. So you're feeling the extra power within the channels, which is really giving the nervous system even more of a calming effect. At the same time, you do definitely want to just use Qigong as a way to help you relax enough so that you can get healthier and healthier and healthier in general before you even start really trying to cultivate a Dantian, I would even say at first, because if it's all about quality more than anything else, because we got quality Qi, quality Jing, and quality Shin that we're looking to create. Not just more of it, because more of it over explodes everything. But quality is the refinement of it. So when you have quality and then you have a quality will going on with it, you don't need necessarily more ever. You have enough to do all things. All you need to do is keep on going with allowing your genetics to turn on certain powers within inside of you.
Now, it's interesting because jumping into it at least is great, because it can activate the path, or it can maybe bring things back into alignment and order. But truly, like, diving into cultivation may not be the main thing, hours every day type of thing, unless the nervous system is ready. But it's okay to just do some meditations here and there whenever it feels right to and stuff like that. Okay.
I mean, like, definitely if you have a master that is like, you're training with,
or at least have enough experience,
they would tell you. They would tell you, like, straight up, like, no, we're not gonna just try to be building a Dantian just yet. Like, we gotta make sure you just refine. Like they would want you to refine your Jing first, which is pretty much your physical body, the essence of your physical body. They would want you to refine that first. To a certain degree, just to a certain degree, because obviously we're not talking about like getting more Jing. That's Amrita levels, which is later on down the line. But get your Jing that you have right now. Like, go high in minerals, high in hydrogen. That's what I would suggest. And then get your organs and glands right as much as you can, which is again high in minerals, high in hydrogen. That'll help you out. And eventually obviously you can do the breath work at any time. The breath work is, it's somewhat recommended if you're doing
Depends on the
qigong
breath
breath work. I would
Right.
recommend qigong breath work before a lot of other breath works, unless you need the catharsis, which can be recommended as well. But that would be recommended in moderate amounts, not as
Remind
a
me what catharsis is again.
catharsis is pretty much when your body goes into a state of shock and numbness. Like, so we're doing breath of fires. If you do that long enough, your body goes into catharsis. But if you're doing breath of fires where you're activating a lot of chaos, so you're throwing your arms and whatever else, and getting more wild into the fast breathing, the super sympathetic nervous system breathing, then your body goes into a state of wildness mode, where it brings up a certain amount of like, wow, that's a lot of power. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I forgot we had this much power.
Right.
It's like taking reserves from all over the place and throwing them all into the bloodline immediately and saying, all right, we're using all this right now because we're going super sympathetic. So we're clashing beta waves and gamma waves at the same time.
Right.
And so we're going to go into a state of like shock. But, the good thing with that is that in a good dosage, you can take that shock and go straight into stillness after it, and it'll give you a good reminder of your power. So that's why it's only good in moderate amounts for a lot of people, just so you remind them of their power and getting their magnetism back. But then after that, a lot more energy, I would say, with the breath work would be geared towards mental training and relaxing the nervous system more and more, so that you can get focused more and more on getting healthier, so you can start working more and more towards.
I think that's amazing to talk about, is how to work with the catharsis, because I noticed even if you're an advanced practitioner, like you've got some hours and years into it, the body's dealing with what we deal with in the collective on a daily basis. The bodies still like to go into that state sometimes. So it's like, how are you wielding it? How are you dealing with it? So that's really cool. Stillness, doing something with the meditation stillness after the breath work, not pushing it too much.
Yeah.
So I remember whenever me and Bob would do the breath work, man, we'd be sometimes falling over, and I gotta make it look cool, do some push-ups or something. But yeah, man, like,
that's what the training
it happens. It happens, So
yeah. I would also want to say, like, to add to what you're saying, the stillness after should always be seen with the same amount of time that you took to even do the warming up of the body and whatnot through the breath work.
Warming up of the
If you're warming up the body and you're warming up the glands and everything through the breath work, and you're getting drops of melatonin and serotonin and dopamine through the breath work, you'd want to take the same amount of time. So let's say it was 30 minutes, you were doing different techniques and kriyas and such. You don't want to take another 30 minutes just to go into stillness, so you can match
just
that.
to relax your nerves.
You never want to go too high on the fire without going at the same
Right.
amount on the water. And that's what alchemy, later on when you get into the microcosmic orbit and in alchemy, you learn how important it is to never be shooting off too much, firing up too much, because without that water element in the background, you're going to be running out of your kidneys. You're going to literally just be leaking gene because you're using it. Yeah, because pretty much you're using the yang chi, and so the yin chi has to convert itself to yang chi, and you're losing yin chi at that moment, and so you're pretty much not on track for longevity at that moment. You're just on track for explosion, which can be a fun process. But in the mix, always learn that stillness is that easy amount of funness that can come from just letting the consciousness seep in. After you cleanse it up a little bit with the type of tantric energy, you cleanse it up. Now refill yourself with new information, and that's through that stillness that should be met in the same amount of time period after.
Amazing. Maintenance is very important. That type of stuff is, if not more important than the practices themselves, is how to deal with what comes up, catharsis, the detox, etc. Yeah, I've been finding, like, coming out here to Moo, a lot more rest, man. I mean, maybe in a month I'll have a little bit more energy, but the vibe is so high here, the frequencies are so high, especially kicking in with the Baba, man. You gotta rest a lot around the Nagas, man. gotta rest. That's one thing. If y'all want to come kick it, get ready to rest.
I love
get
that,
ready
bro.
for a detox.
I love
ready
that,
for
bro.
all of that. Like,
I love that, bro. Because that's not spoken around me enough. That when people
Right.
come and they start training and they get around a Baba, that you're coming and you're gonna get perspectives that you just might have not have heard in a long time or ever this reality, and you need to rest into that. Like, let that shit sink in.
yeah, let it marinate, man.
Yeah.
The young masters out here, y'all better really know what time it is.
Yeah.
Just here to activate that too, and the other Jedi's and the priestesses and all that. Basically the doctors in the hospital. This is the moon, is the hospital of the earth. Man.
That's right.
Powerful place. I've been calling this the actual physical. All the islands are the actual physical. The closest place you can get to the actual world, the physical dimension, is here.
Literally,
definitely.
we're the closest to the stars out here. It's a known fact. We are the closest to the stars because we are the most isolated island, and the waters
Pretty
are
much the whole freaking world. I mean,
yeah. We're the most isolated island in the world for sure here in Hawaii, and so that means we're closest to the stars because we know that the astrals is really in the sea. The astrals is really in the ocean.
actual space is the sea.
Exactly.
So we're,
So
it's like
we're
we were saying
closest.
yesterday, like, yo, we would Master Roshi and Dr. Popo, Mr. Popo.
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this is some. Look, I was just thinking too, Piccolo, they call
Piccolo.
Piccolo, dark, very, very dark skin.
Piccolo, yeah,
Piccolo, Popo,
Mhm.
and Kamehameha by the Goku blast, Kamehameha,
Kamehameha.
lifting the stone.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is all here, man.
it's really all here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why not take the time out to learn some things, learn how to at least maintain the body that you're living, learn how to at least live your natural destiny of 120 years, because that's the actual prerequisite for most people's Jing, is that you have a body with genetics that are supposed to live to 120 years, but you can do that in a high fashion. You can do that in a designer body, in a designer suit, and you can live those 120 years. Now, if we're talking about longevity beyond that, that's when we're talking about upgrading our avatar suit to more and more deeper levels of immortality, but at least utilize the maintenance faculties by training the mind, training the body, and getting yourself into a degree of knowing how to maintain energy for what it truly is, the energy that the body runs off of, the ATP, the mitochondrial matriarchal energy that your body runs off of. You want to at least know how to maintain that well enough to get you a quality amount of 120 years in this reality for your soul, so that your soul can take that wherever it has on the next destination.
Yeah, what I could say too is I probably can't say this enough, and everybody probably heard this shit a lot, but hydration and increasing the levels of hydration is extremely important.
Right.
Like it's so serious to the point where like a bag of potato chips can really mess you up. It's better to get cucumbers and hummus and cut the cucumbers into chips than to just go buy some Tostitos or something, not because having some chips once in a while is bad for you, but when you're working with this type of cultivation and energy, you want to make sure the hydration levels are high. So you can even the catharsis or whatever detox comes up, it almost like this silky, barrier. It's almost like when people smoke weed or have a drink. It helps like smooth out their experience. Water does that. Hydration does that, really. So more juices, more teas, less stuff that takes water out of the body. I mean, you do what you want, but when you're working with these type of immortal practices, you're gonna have to come back into my eye, which is the dark waters, which is water, fruits, whatever we can get into it. Structured water, orange definitely, for sure.
Yeah, that's a whole another can of worms. But speaking on hydration, we can always speak on hydration every single time we talk, because it is part of the foundation for upgrading your gene, which would be to remineralize and hydrate, which would technically mean to electrify by creating coherency with all those new minerals that you're putting in your body, right? So the whole process of hydration is pretty much bringing your body back to more vital life upgrading your Jing just a little bit so that you're full of minerals all over your body. You're not lacking any minerals, but you're also don't have blockages within your GI tract and around your organs and in your bloodstream. You're getting rid of the parasites so that there's no blockages of the electricity that flows from mineral to mineral as much as it is. And then we're upgrading the hydrogen bonds with inside of the organs and the glands, because those they need to be more hydrated for them to work properly and sing efficiently. It's almost as if like when when one of your organs are dehydrated, it's almost as if there's a blockage within the orchestra of that organ or that archon.
He's about to.
I was about to, right? But you can see how if there's if I have like a piece of tissue in here that's coming from toxins being wrapped up in mucus and whatnot, anywhere around any of the organs, then the actual vibrations that are being emitted by the organs to create life are going to have some type of distortion. And so to get yourself out of distortion, you definitely want to go through certain levels of detoxing so that you at least have strong working organs, and you can work from there to strengthen them more. But at least get yourself on hydrating yourself, because hydrogen molecule is the smallest molecule, so it can get into the cracks and the crevices of the organs and the glands and the tissues and release the toxins and release the mucus for what they truly are.
I mean, you could pretty much go through anything if you're hydrated enough and not be run into the hot. It's almost, water is such a powerful thing. I can go on about that, but yeah, man. Well, I have another question, but we'll save it for another topic, because that's deep. What do you think?
We can keep going. Yeah, this can just be
when it comes back to me, actually.
Okay, I'll keep talking about hydrogen until that does come.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hydrogen.
Yeah, because that's a big part.
Okay, so yeah, here it is. So minerals and water. Best place. What do you think the best place to be mineralized? Because the mineral to be mineralized is to be hydrated, correct?
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah. After it's coagulated enough.
Right.
So like,
because people are, by the way, before you go, people are dropping in the ionic trace drops. They're putting in the pink salt. They're doing the shilajit. They're doing Irish moss. They're doing burdock root. Dr. Sebi, the iron. I need my iron. Look, I'm anemic. What do I do? Do I go get some shilajit, burdock? What the fuck?
So the question
basically is, what's the best way to mineralize? The best way to mineralize and hydrate
is by climatization. So what that means is that you need to take time to mineralize. So even if you've got the most powerful shilajit, dose, wakame, bladderwrack, all your adaptogenic mushrooms, you still want to take 3 to 6 months at least with daily cultivation with those, because they have to work their way to those elements and to those parts of your body that create those elements in a fashion of reminding the body of what it's like to have that much elements, because you're pretty much adapting to a new body having more minerals, and so your body can create more of those minerals on a daily basis the way that it's supposed to, without you even having to take those in after you climatize. And so with that climatization, that'll allow you to turn those minerals into actual hydration. If you're just like busting it down for 1 week thinking that you're just going to get it all in, it's not going to work like that. You're not actually influencing the Jing long enough for the Jing to actually say, okay, we're going to upgrade our frequency more to a more, because you got to remember, Jing is not necessarily like a physical thing. It's still an essence. It's like a plasmic essence that flows through all things out around your body. It's like a more dense form of chi that's flowing through your body.
Interesting.
Right? And so you have to upgrade your minerals and your hydration levels through a process. Yeah. How's it going? How's it going?
Hello.
Aloha.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're all good. Aloha.
Oh,
And
we got a little flood zone here.
yeah.
Fun.
I don't know if I want to do it.
You guys may have to skip the sides,
What was that? Skip the
Skip the
sides.
sides.
Then I know where I'll end up.
Splash
Sorry
down.
to interrupt you.
You're all
All
good.
right.
It's all 2024. We can edit everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So
does that make
basically,
sense?
yeah. So someone
What side's better?
someone would benefit a lot
Whoa.
if they.
That's
That
why
was
I
pretty
don't want to
cool.
do
I
it.
missed it.
Yeah.
Wish we had that
That's
on
balance.
too.
I don't either
Okay,
anymore. I
I'll
used
get
to.
this to it.
No, I don't want to do it.
I
I don't
don't.
want to ruin my shoes for the whole week. Have them be soaking wet. So sorry, you guys.
And no, don't be,
I know.
don't be.
Disrupting the peace.
I
Sorry.
know.
Don't be. Y'all are bringing the joy.
The comedy.
Exactly. Appreciate
Have a
it.
good day.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
So someone needs to commit, and that felt really good to hear, man, because people need to know that this is not just an overnight thing. If you truly want to be mineralized, you should commit or look forward to committing like a whole half a year or straight year of mineralizing every single day, and don't expect things to really hit. I mean, I know from if your intestines are clean enough, you may feel that mineralized a lot sooner. But again, it's about the blockages and making sure your blockages are clear. But yes, so long
Getting rid
term.
of parasites, making sure.
Oh,
the
because
blockages are clear.
even if the parasites are in, it doesn't matter if you
Yeah,
got
they're eating all
you
the
got
minerals
one
at
of
that
these
point, yeah.
or you got one of these, like
It'll still be eating.
they'll
all
be
the
eating
minerals.
all your minerals, taking everything.
Yeah.
So it's about it be a little bit of a process, but
And then allowing your body to move to more of a plasmic remembrance of your H3O2 energies, so that there's more electricity to be a conduit for the minerals. So that just takes time, and it's just one of those things. Like detox is like one of the main beginning processes, because without it, you know what I mean, your neuromelanin, neurogenesis, and neuroplasticity will have a harder time of increasing with the practices, with a body that's just still being treated like a trash can, rather than an avatar that is based in hydrogen, based in electricity, and based in a certain function form that we originally came here with a blueprint for. That didn't include parasites and mucoid plaque and mucus all over the place.
now
and
I have
toxins
a
all over
question,
the place.
right? So when it comes to hydrogen, someone wants to increase their hydrogen, or what does that even look like? Is that just a part of the mineralization?
It's a part of
And the breathwork
detoxing.
thing?
I mean, it's like one of those things where you can add, but as you're adding, you're also subtracting, no matter what, because we're trying to get back to a state of equilibrium. More than anything else, you need to get back to a state of equilibrium, which most people haven't been at in so long. But you're really just subtracting whenever you're adding more hydrogen. You're allowing the hydrogen that's going into the body to actually pull and break up whatever needs to be taken out, so you can come back to equilibrium. So a lot of people want to go Super Saiyan and be like, I'm just going to add more hydrogen, more electricity, and they don't even have the mindset of like, well, actually, I'm doing all of this just to get back to equilibrium first. So if I don't ever get back to equilibrium, I can never actually open up more channels, stretch them out, and have a strong Dantian or two, so that I can actually do some electrokinesis or whatever, or pyrokinesis. You'll never even get to that holistically. I'm not saying it can't be done, but holistically, where you're also looking to at least live 120 years and beyond with the quality of life, you won't be able to get to that just through like a very slow and tranquil way. You can still get to those levels and have those city powers without doing a lot of the detoxing. But if one of your main priorities is to cultivate Tao, not just cities, then
Your body's included. You can't just throw it out and be like, well, I can still eat this or do that on a daily and not have any responsibility with my body, and I can have my cities and stuff. I've seen this over and over again, and I've seen, not to say put names out there, and I have respect for these masters who have passed, but it's like their bodies were in complete pain, but there were such high levels of consciousness, like it's like a part of their mental energy was utilized maybe not numb, but to alchemize the pain of your body. So you're using some of your mental or your spiritual energy to not mask, but to turn your pain into something else. When it's like, well, why not just take care of your body?
Yeah.
And you'd have so much more available to you.
Even if it's at certain degrees of just like, I know how to detox once a week, once a month, a couple of times a year even, and I know how to maintain going most of the days of my life, not packing in too much toxins. That's pretty much the simplicity of it. Don't pack in too much toxins, move the body a lot, breathe a lot, and you'll get rid of a lot of the toxins as long as you don't go, periods after periods after periods packing in toxins, or packing in one type of ingredients that's gonna, because it really, the medicine is not in the actual medicine, it's in the quantity of the medicine. All medicine has to do in the dosage. So, that also means the medicine of negation. Whatever you're not putting in, it's all in the dosage of that. And so whenever you are putting in anything and having your dosages of anything in the world, you're doing that with an aware state of like, okay, it's in the dosage. I can get into this or that, but it's in the dosage that's actually gonna hurt me in the long run. And so without that simple degree of like, hey, like, of course you want like a light body, right? You're moving with this tool, might as well just have it be a clean tool like any other vehicle. You want your vehicle to be clean because when you're transforming from point A to point B, with those little like bag of chips in the car and those cookies in the back or whatever, those are going to be little distractions on the way that will make you take point C and point D. Like, I see those cookies, that would be so good to have more. But if you would have just cleaned up your car after, using it again, then you would actually see that it's a lot easier to get from point A to point B without those distractions
and something I like to share, y'all, because I come from that, so does Baba, from what I've known. Like, we're big foodies and whatever and stuff. But what you notice is, and this is from the ancient scriptures as well, is that they call it rapturous abandon, or alchemy, is better than self-denial. It's better than denial. So it's like, instead of throwing out the bag of chips, if you do the right amount of alchemy and you take care of yourself and you put yourself first, that bag of chips, if you get to a certain level, you probably be stuck on one chip or two chips or 3 or 4 chips from the whole bag, because you're so cultivated and so enlightened. It's like, you have the same bag of chips for a year.
You're so aware.
Instead of
such a truth.
running through them all the fucking time.
Like, so much data and information, right?
One chip is like, oh my god.
This is a whole fucking reality in this chip, And since it is entertainment, once you get to certain levels of cultivation, having an open Ren mind, Do mind, or microcosmic orbit, and you have a strong Dantian, food, it really does become just entertainment at that point. But each entertainment can be even more enhanced the more aware you are, so you can take that chip and turn it into a whole movie in some type of sense. And that's not happening in like a linear, like, 3 hours, but it's happening in a consciousness level because you're one with the universe that much.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. So, really check yourself. Do you have a microcosmic orbit? Do you have a Dantian yet? And what are the steps that are going to take for that? Because one of the minor cities is being able to not need food, and that's a great portion of what the modern world would benefit so much from if they just had that minor city of not needing food for energy.
Not needing a lot, right?
Yeah, for energy. Well, I'm speaking for energy.
For energy.
For energy specifically.
Right. Okay.
Like, me, myself, I don't need food for energy. I never look for food and say, like, that's already been out of my programmings, and it's only getting more and more out of my programmings to certain even further degrees. But for right now, I can say that I do not look for food for energy. I haven't done that in years. And I never I just need some energy. Let me, even get a coconut water. I don't even look at coconut water or anything that's of the highest, purest essence on this earth for energy, because I know in actuality, it's actually just entertainment. Number one, because I have a Dantian that shows me that the body does produce its own energy by itself, and that cells do not feed on any food, but they feed on only frequency, and my body creates frequency. But number two, just that, you know, less is more. So the less you're putting in your GI tract, the more energy you will have to do all other things in life. And you know, that's pretty much a simple rule of
And I can attest to that. Of course, me and Baba, well, you know, we crossed paths a couple of years ago, but what I noticed is by the time I met Baba, I was already at a similar stage where it's like, yeah, I can go through bouts of like, all right, let me get some orange juice, let me get something to pick me up, right? But what I'm noticing more and more by the day is that if I'm gonna run towards anything for energy, it's water or it's rest.
Yeah.
Because the water,
Exactly.
if I'm feeling tired or I'm like, oh, I don't have enough energy, it's usually because I don't have enough hydroelectric power going on at that moment and not enough sun that make that power, right?
Yeah.
Or I just need to freaking relax.
Yeah,
Just shut down
and let
for
the
a little
mind
bit.
have some stillness,
Right.
and let the energy come back.
Exactly. And nowadays, if we're eating, it's like we're like children again at the, you know, in the sandbox. Ooh, we have some popcorn with some food.
Yeah, because you
Lifting,
gotta
feel
love
like
that
good.
movie. You
Yeah,
love
man.
that movie until it's no longer a movie that you're like, you know, you mature that movie and then you exhaust it, and then you're at that point where it's like, yo, I've lived that movie a lot of times. I'm not even craving it. Even if somebody puts the energy right in front of my nose, it's like, yo, smell this, smells so good. And it's like, oh man, I already know that movie like the back of my hand. It's all good. And that's the way that you let things go as entertainments, not as poisons, because that's a harsher reality to live when you're letting things go because they're poisons, but everybody else around you is just being poisonous. It's an easier reality to say everybody's just in their entertainment, but their awareness is not high enough to where they're actually getting the full movie. It's like they're watching the movie with like one eye closed. And so, you know, their awareness isn't high enough to actually get the full entertainment from that delicacy of life, and, you know, just be in their splendor enough to like see it as like a full movie, exhaust it, and, you know, let it go the naturalist way, and, you know, just like see everybody else as just like not exhausting it yet. You know,
Right.
It's hard. It's definitely harder when you see.
I mean, it is definitely a city. It's definitely a power. And why do I think that's important? Why do we think it's important? Well, look at what's going on in our world these days, man. You think one of the best things we could do is to have full control over our hunger and thirst.
There's no autonomy without that in general. That's like the base point of sovereignty, is because the world is ran by energy.
Are we're being consumed. So we're out eating every day, 3 meals a day. You're being consumed by something. That's why you have to consume.